How does this work? Is this working? Display capture. How do I actually do this? Stop streaming, stop recording. Is this live? Display capture. Game capture, window capture. I don't know how this shit works, man. What the hell? How do I turn this off? So if I go into PoE, it doesn't change. I don't know how this shit works, man. What the hell? How do I turn this off? It's just delayed, right? If I go into PoE, it doesn't change. I don't know. It's just delayed, right? Erase this. It's not too active. Why? It's not too active. Why? Yeah, you know when Kulian. How does this actually work? I've never set up a stream before. Yeah, you know when Kulian. How does this actually work? I've never set up a stream before. Like, can you guys hear my audio? This thing is like so delayed. How does this actually work? I've never set up a stream before. Oh, you can. Okay, so I have to mute my own. That's interesting. But yeah, you can ask whatever. The earthshatter build, right? Bro, how do I get rid of this delay? There's like a 20-second delay on my replies, I think. I don't know if this is like inbuilt to OBS or my mic is fucked. I don't know where to put it, bro. Like, I don't have any space on my desk. Let me see. Because if I put it on the right side, it's next to my mouse. Wait, can you hear me right now? Holy shit. Bro. Oh, okay. I mean, I think the sound is just going to be kind of fucked no matter what I do. Because I can't put the mic right next to my mouse, so it's going to be on, like, the other desk. Yeah. I don't know how to get rid of that. I've never set up any kind of stream. OBS lower stream delay. Stream delay in OBS and set the duration to exactly 1 second. File settings. Advanced tab. Scroll down to the stream delay section. Oh, here. 20 seconds, enable 1 second. Apply, okay. Does that work? I don't think that did anything. Pure slams. Are you building it on like a Titan gemling? Bro, I don't think that did anything. I'm pretty sure it's still 20-second delay. I mean, you just go for damage AoE, the Aftershock nodes usually, but I would have to know what skill specifically you're running and what class. Like, for something like Earthshatter, you have to max out your Aftershock chance, because that's where all the damage comes from, basically. You posted the link. Oh, I don't think I can see links unless I enable it somehow. Like, YouTube filters it out. You can kind of see from my chat that I can't see anything. Yeah. If you upload your character and then just tell me the name, I can look it up on PoNinja. Unless there's some way for me to actually enable you to... Is there a way I can enable you to actually put a link? Like, I know people can do that on Twitch. I don't know how to do that on YouTube. Oh, thank you. Oh yeah, I can see that now. Let me see. Kotu Ninja. What the hell? Did I not type that right? Okay, I think I just copied this part, right? Alright, that works. Oral Visara. Oh, you definitely do not want to dual wield Oral Visaras. Just wear one. Because Earthshatter has like a big attack speed penalty if you're actually dual wielding, so you always want to just wear like either one Oral Visara and an empty slot where you can wear a scepter or a shield. You definitely don't want two. Yeah, dual wielding both weapons hit with 30% less attack speed. It's not worth the damage. Because it's not a omnidirectional skill like Twister or Oil Barrage or something like that. It's like single directional, and it also doesn't have a big AoE. So to actually clear packs out, you have to kind of like rapid fire out multiple Earth Shatters. So just in terms of quality of life, you want like maximum attack speed on Earth Shatter. So I definitely wouldn't dual wield it. Scaling damage with ward cost. Let me see. Oh, you're not doing... Oh, that's interesting. So you're not doing cold Ourobosaras. Brass Dome. Spend 5% of your maximum runic ward, if possible, to gain that much added fizz damage. How much ward do you have? You probably have like 2k... It's like 5k ward if you have the Remnant skill up. So 5%. Plus 250 flat fizz. That seems kind of mediocre, if I'm being completely honest. How much am I getting off of my Oro? 44 to 209. So that's like 120, 130 just as flat. I don't know if that's worth it if I'm being honest. I mean the Verglas tech, like the orals are worse than having just a really good rare mace either way. It's just they're super fucking expensive because nobody picks up maces and nobody crafts maces. Like my Oral Vasara is like 840 flat DPS if I'm actually maxed out on the energy, or sorry, on the power. And then if you try to buy like an 800 plus DPS mace, it's like fucking 400 divs right now. Oh, this is great to hear. I'm glad it's working out. 3.7k ward and 2.5k ward. Whoa. Wait, it costs you 2.5k ward on the earthshatter? Where did this go? 5% of your max runic ward if possible. I mean, oh, game. Okay. I was looking at the what is that from? I was looking at the warding rune of annihilation. My bad. I didn't even see the other line. I haven't looked at the other rune mastered Oros. There's like this one and there's a melee strike range one, right? Spend 5%, gain 6% of damage as extra lightning cost per runic ward cost. That doesn't scale with the rune, right? That's just completely separate. There's no interaction there. How much does your Earthshatter actually cost in terms of runic ward? Runic infusion cost an additional 20% of max runic ward. Oh, I see. Do you actually get your runic ward back that quickly? That's like gigantic runic ward cost. Runic infusion and support. Yeah, it makes sense. I've not seen a character like this. Like, if you spend all your ward that rapidly, like, how do you generate it back quickly enough? Like, there's remnants of Kalgur if you're killing very quickly, but like, what if you're just hitting a boss? How do you generate your ward back? Also, what is this? Runic infusion, branching fissures, close combat. Also, it's definitely not Ella armament, right? If you're doing runic infusion, you're probably dealing like half or even more fizz damage. There's no way Ella armaments is the ideal support here. Even something like rapid attacks would probably do better. Or if you can afford a Varanas is really good. So I'm Pathfinder. I'm using life flasks. Original build is here. This is really interesting. I've not seen any build like this before. That's really cool. Sorry. So I delete this. Also, is there any way for me to pull my chat out? Because I don't have another monitor. Holy shit, that's loud.
Yeah, hi guys.
So I have to like click back and forth. I mean, I guess I can maybe open my chat on my phone, so I can. Give me a sec. Also, let me see if anyone had any questions. How do you reply on YouTube? Pin message, channel activity. Bro, how does this shit work? Yeah, you can share your ninja. You probably have to post it without like the .com and whatever, and then I'll just do it manually because it filters it out if you try to post a full link. So just like cut out the .com or cut out a slash, and then I'll take a look. How are you benefiting from your second weapon set when you're using whirling on your first weapon set? You use whirling on the first weapon set because Rigwalds, you're always using Rigwalds for attack speed. Let me go to hideout real quick. Rigwalds on the first weapon set gives attack speed. On the second weapon set, it gives damage. And we want to max our whirling slash attack speed. So you all, like, my default on pretty much every build is if I have some kind of movement setup with whirling slash, bone shatter, something like that, I'll always put it on weapon set 1. And then I'll put my actual damage set on weapon set 2. Because I don't need Rigwalds in earthshatter, right? The other supports are just better. I would rather just have the better movement speed from having more attack speed on whirling. It's just a good practice to default to putting your movement stuff on weapon set 1. Also, can you guys hear me okay? Like, is this fine? Or is it better if I just type it? Worth it to get chill? You can't. Because the problem with getting chill immunity from this node is you would have to, like, because we're also balancing for gem studded, we have to have equal red and blue gems, but if you have equal red and blue support gems, this doesn't work. Crystallized immunities, like, you cannot multi-balance it the way you can with gem studded, which is really weird. I don't know why they work differently, but like, you can triple balance gem studded. You cannot double or triple balance crystallized immunities. You have to only get one. So the problem is, if you balance for immunity to chill by having mostly blue support gems, then you're unbalancing your gem studded and you're not getting the take no crit damage bonus. So if you want like full chill immunity, I think the solutions are either an Elder's Legacy on your boots, because there's like a no chill or freeze Elder's Legacy, or you can get a lore weave that has you're immune to chill and freeze. One of those two options. Yeah, I don't know what to do about the delay. I tried to figure it out. Like, I lowered it in my OBS settings, but I don't seem to, it didn't seem to do anything. Let me see if I can, 1 second enable. 2 seconds? If anybody has like any idea how to actually fix this, or change it, let me know, because I don't know what to do. But yeah, if you want chill immunity, there's a lore weave mod that adds that. So you could drop off the or sorry, let me go to trade. You could drop off the onslaught, or you could drop off the guard, depending on what you prefer. If you have enough cold damage and you get some freeze buildup, you could even drop off the pulsar kiln effect. Like, you don't necessarily need that, especially if you're not running like mostly 200% deli. I only need the chill effect if I'm actually just like chaining 200% deli because of all the damage reduction. But there's a lore weave mod for this. Into chill. Where is this? You cannot be chilled or frozen, this one. I think I haven't done a lot of Grand Expedition, but there's been a lot of questions about like how you would run this in Grand Expedition. I think you would probably want a lore weave with this mod, because if I'm not mistaken, there's a rune in Expeditions that makes you reflect chills back at yourself. So you just kind of fuck yourself over if you don't have chill immunity and your slow charm is down. So this is potentially a really good mod to go for if you do want to do Grand Expeditions. But I haven't tested much Expedition myself because I don't really enjoy it. Oh, sorry, I completely forgot about the video. That's my bad. Oh, he's wearing a waistgate. That's, oh, because that's interesting. Conductive runes. I'll kind of like skip through this a bit. The ward, he's getting the ward back really fast. That's interesting.
This card is provided Sunday. Not the life last.
Okay, I'm probably gonna have to do a little bit more like research later into this build to be able to answer you, because I don't want to take like 20 minutes learning about the build here. Unless all the questions are already answered. But I'll try to get back to you on that one. You can add me on Discord, by the way. Like, if you have questions, it's just Phylaris on Discord. I'll take a look at this a little bit later, and then because I don't really know how this works. I've never run a build like this. Let me see. Next upgrade. Yeah, sorry, I don't want to brush it off. It's just I don't have any experience with that kind of build yet, so I'll have to look into it first. Okay, wait, how do I do this? Po.ninja PoE2 PoE2 like this. Man, I am stupid. Profile Yukineki. I think I just copied this part, right? And then boom. Okay, nice. Definitely. I don't know what budget you're working on. Definitely cap out your resists. I would work on getting a better Sky Sliver probably, or just a better Soaring Spear or Grand Spear. Just something better than 2.3 attacks per second. It gets kind of expensive as you move up. I think I bought mine for. I have 2.5 on a Soaring Spear, and I bought that for like 70 divines or something like that. That's always a really, really nice upgrade to go for. Because you just whirl faster. Okay. We've got a pretty nice helmet. That's good. Loreweave has... Oh, it's corrupted. Chilled, shattered. You could probably get a better Loreweave than this, if I'm being honest. Because the quality is kind of low. I guess it is 3-socket. But ideally, you would get one with 5% qual. It's pretty important. And then the projectile from spells cannot pierce is also not particularly relevant. So even though this one's 3-socket, I don't think it's that good. I would say you can definitely go for a better Loreweave after you save up a little bit. I think I have a link in the Mobalytics guide on Loreweave searches. Let me see. I still don't know how to fucking navigate this thing. Where is this? Show all. Loreweave. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so you can do a search like this. You can just go into the guide to get this link, and then you change the count to 2. And this would mean that you have the chilled line as well as like 2 other desirable mods. Let me add the chill. Cannot be chilled or frozen. This one's probably fine as well. Oh, these got kind of expensive. What the fuck? Okay, I guess a lot of the good ones got bought up. These were like 5 or 10 divs the last time I looked, but anyway, this is also an option. Wow, what the? Okay. I guess you would have to have a little bit more currency then. This is good, but it's expensive. I did not expect them to get bought up so quickly. Because when I set that link up, there were like a lot of options for like 5 to 10 divines. That's kind of unfortunate. What about the the Rune Mastered ones? There's some here. Like, this is good. Rarity, triple socket, chilled with shatter, mana flask. This is really good, by the way. Although it's a little bit expensive, but 3-socket? This is a pretty worthwhile upgrade if somebody wants this. And then what else? Helmet's good. Augmented Flesh, cast an elemental ailment. This is solid. You can what's it called? You can catalyze this and get some more life or more attributes. Ooh, nice ring. 60 qual, Jesus. That is a fat ring. I would say probably this other ring, your gold ring, I would replace with something that has like flat life. This ring is crap. This ring is like godly, and this ring is complete crap. So I would probably replace this with something with at least like a really nice flat life roll. Because at the end of the day, this is like a pure life build, so the hit pool isn't very high. It's pretty important to get some like flat life where you can get it. Otherwise, you're still at risk of getting one shot, no matter how much armor you get. This is decent. Sirius plus greater Mage Blood. You've got Bismuth, Jade, Amethyst, Gold. That's okay. I would definitely say you want silver. Like, silver is by far the most important, because attack speed scaling onto your rolling slash plus your earthshatter is like super important. So some kind of Mage Blood that has a silver roll on it is good to get. And then your boots are solid. I definitely think you need to get more life though. Like, there's not enough flat life on this gear. This is 2880 or 2830 after you actually stack your motes up. So I'm assuming you're entering maps with like 2.2k life or something like that. It's just too low. You're going to get one shot by something no matter how much armor you have. So that's definitely something you should look to replace. It is really easy to get a better Aura Vasara than this, by the way. Like, unless the prices went up really badly, 24% attack speed is super low. You can just go for Oral Visara 1.87. Let me see. No, oh, the prices went up. Oh dear. No corrupted. What the fuck?
Shipment sent.
Okay, never mind. These were like 5 exalts when I made the video. That's kind of shit. Oh. Okay, never mind. I guess that'd be on slightly higher budget then. I mean, wow, that's really unfortunate. I mean, you can still upgrade it without too much problem, I guess. Like, it would cost you maybe 5 to 10 divines to get an upgrade. On like a 27% 1 div base, it takes you like roughly 3 tries on average. That's really unfortunate though. I'm sorry about that. Those were literally 5 exalts when I recorded the video, so that's really unfortunate. That sucks. Got very large. This is good. This is really good. This is solid. Heart of the Well. You definitely need to get some recover life or mana on kill somewhere. I'm assuming you have cannibalism at least. Yeah, you need to go for a Heart of the Well with recover mana on kill, or your mana costs are going to be like disgusting. It's a super, super important mod. Either on a regular jewel or on your Heart of the Well. It's even more important than having a second gain, because you have so much gain as damage from Verglis plus your Sacred Flame already. Like, you don't need a double gain as Heart of the Well. Like, plus 1 to 2% recover mana on kill is absolutely mandatory, or you just go out of mana in like 3 seconds while actually mapping. So I'd say those are the main upgrades. Definitely the mana on kill jewel is the first upgrade. But yeah, wow, those prices suck. What the hell? Okay. Let me see. Got Rite of Passage, switched to Armor Explosion. Spectre. I also changed my Warrior that was providing Spirit for a Lore Weave with Chill Can Be Shattered. Yeah, that's good. I will say, if you're feeling weak defensively, the guard on Mana Flask line is super, super important. Because this is like a true melee build, right? You just go up and stand there and whack monsters. So having some burst resistance from the guard on the Mana Flask is really, really good feeling. That's the main reason I haven't dropped off my Lore Weave. So if you can get that, that feels really good, if you do notice problems with survivability. Onslaught's expensive. Yeah. Can you use Pulsar Kelm? Oh, sorry. Let me see. Rod deck. How do you manage to run so many arrows on weapon set 1 with only 150 spirit? I don't run all of them on weapon set 1. If I go to weapon set 1, I'm only running Warbanner, Berserk, Arctic Armor, and that's it. I've only got these 3. Or wait, Time of Need should be on here. I don't know why that's checked off. These 4. Warbanner, Berserk, Arctic Armor, Time of Need. These 2 are disabled. They're not active. This is just for the motes, right? To get extra life motes. If you want to, you can disable Warbanner and put Scavenged Plating so you have more armor while you're whirling around. But I find it really annoying not to have Warbanner in weapon set 1. Because like when I go up to a boss, right? Let's say the map device is a boss. I like whirl up to him. And then I like to, Seismic Cry, Infernal Cry for the Rage and put down my banner. And then start earth shattering away. If Warbanner's not in weapon set 1, then you have to like earth shatter to swap to weapon set 2, and then put down your Warbanner and then earth shatter again. It's just really, really clunky. So I just personally drop Warbanner in both weapon sets. Even though technically, if you're okay with earth shattering first before dropping the banner, you can just put banner in weapon set 2 only, and then put Scavenge Plating in weapon set 1. Hopefully that answers your question. May I please help to see the equipment? Changed mine yesterday, and the last step is buying skill gems and time loss jewels. Yeah, you can show me your Poe Ninja. Just like copy this part, the part after profile. Just copy this part and paste it in the chat, and then I'll click into it because I can't. It doesn't let you post full links. What about Time of Needs? Time of Needs is in both sets. Time of Need, like, I really want to drop this. It's not that good, because the problem is the timer for starting the heal and the curse clear, it restarts every single time you swap weapon sets. So you never actually get the curse clear and the healing because you're always swapping weapon sets between whirling and earth shattering. So the only reason this is here, like literally the only reason this is here is because of the out quality. It grants 44% increased life regen rate, which is really, really important for counteracting Berserk. Right? Because otherwise, once you stack up to maximum rage, your Berserk degen kicks in, and it's really, really annoying. If you have Time of Need, then you can see you still degen a little bit, but it's like a tiny amount, right? It's pretty ignorable. When you turn Time of Need off, or you don't have this, the degen's a lot more significant, and it's just bad quality of life, right? But if you're willing to degen a little bit, then you can turn off Time of Need or replace this. Another option is you can put Berserk only in weapon set 2, just in your Earthshatter set, and turn it off of your whirling slash set, so you don't degen when you're whirling. The only problem with that is if Berserk is only active in weapon set 2, you're only getting the max rage from the buff on weapon set 2. It's 19 max rage, which means every time you swap from whirling to your Earthshatter, you're missing 19 max rage, right? So it's basically like mapping while missing 20 rage. It's pretty bad in terms of damage, but it is an option if you feel like you're doing a ton of damage already and you don't care about that, right? Because you would still max out your rage against bosses because you're sitting there actually attacking. So that's definitely an option to just turn off Berserk in weapon set 1, not run Time of Need, and put something else in here if you prefer. Stag Launcher build, I feel the build has stagnated. I would say the Stag Launcher, it's not that appropriate for 200% Deli. Like, that was my starter build for the league, so that and the Molten Blast build with the whatchamacallit, the Brutus led sprinklers, those were really, really early league builds. So my goal with those builds wasn't really to clear all content in the game and like speed farm 200% Delirious. That was like early on, just getting through maps, getting through T15s, farming up, and having a really good starter character. So at least the way the Stag Launcher is built out, I don't think it's particularly suitable for 200% Deli. It just doesn't have the raw damage unless you have a really, really good weapon. I think there's a way to do like a higher damage, like Gemling version though, because instead of the main problem with this Stag Launcher build that makes it hard to scale is you're wearing Sure-footed Sigil for the movement, for the longer dodge roll distance, right? But that kills your amulet slot, which is super, super important because you're losing stuff like Eternal Rage, you're losing stuff like +3 or +4 proj. So I would say if you're working on a higher budget and you really enjoy the Stag Launcher build, just like rolling really far while tossing grenades, I would actually do it on a Gemling and just use Cast on Dodge. Right? Work up the spirit for Cast on Dodge with like a really good spirit amulet, maybe a lore weave, or sorry, not a lore weave, a Warrior Invictus with spirit on it, maybe spirit on a helmet corruption or against the darkness. Fit in Cast on Dodge, and that'll give you more dodge distance than the Sure-footed Sigil, and you still get to wear an amulet that has like Eternal Rage and +3 or +4 proj, and you'll be dealing like 2 to 3 times the damage versus the Spirit Walker version. The Spirit Walker version is just because that was really early in the league, so it was kind of like a starter build, if that makes sense. Yeah, you can basically play that exact build except better on a Gemling Legionnaire. It's just that it takes a higher budget, so it wasn't my league starter. You can literally transplant that build over, drop the sigil, put Cast on Dodge, and you will have like a better character on Gemling. Just more expensive. Do you have recommendations for what to put on a Diamond Jewel? +2 rage. If you're like really rich, you want to do the oil crafts that have like the 50% suffix, 60% suffix or prefix increased effect. But I would say max rage, attack speed, attack damage are the kind of 3 big priorities. Still kind of struggled with 200 Deli. I don't feel like that should be the case. I mean, I can't speak from experience because I haven't set up a Gemling version yet, so it could be the case that it still struggles with damage. But I feel like it should be okay if you have a really good amulet. Grenades do a lot of base damage. You can link me your Gemling, and then I can take a look and see if the gear is really lacking or something like that. Alright, let me see this one. Profile. Oh. Wait, did I do something wrong? What the hell? Can you link this one again? I think the way you link the symbols is not working as a link. Because I can't get this going. Yeah, I don't know how to do these characters. Is melee damage okay instead of attack damage, or would it scale differently? It's okay. It's better to have general attack damage because it applies to your herald damage as well, whereas melee damage only applies to your earthshatter. So it's okay, but point for point, it is better to have attack damage. But it's not like bad to get melee damage or anything like that. It's just not the highest priority. Okay, let me see. P Diddy. That's a fucking account name, all right. Um. Okay, what did you ask? Wait, which one is this? Upgrade to survivability. Having trouble in Juice Deli. Damage is there. Okay, first thing is you don't have. I really, really think the guard on your lore weave is really, really important defensively if you're able to get it. Like, it is so much burst defense to just get that 1400 guard on demand. Anytime you run into a boss, like I go up to a boss, I hit my flask. I go up to like the center of a unstable breach, I hit my flask. Right? 1400 guard is fucking insane. So that's definitely one of the biggest possible upgrades if you can get a better lore weave that has that. Even replacing onslaught, which feels bad, but you know, if your defenses are really struggling, that's definitely an option. Let me see. Rune of the Prism, Fox Idol, that's good. It's okay. Stimulants. Do you have augmented flesh? Oh, you do. Okay. I would say replace the stimulants on your amulet with a what's it called? Paragon. Paragon's more important than stimulants. Stimulants is kind of like tier 3 in terms of the overall necessity. That's only if you actually get a Raven Touched Feather on your helmet. Then you can anoint stimulants or you can anoint Zarok's Gift for the extra jewel socket. I would say losing Paragon is a little bit too much value because without Paragon, you're not even hitting the 7 stage on your where is it? Arctic Armor? Where is your Arctic Armor? Oh, here we go. You also need one level higher on your Arctic Armor. You have level 19 with level 18 plus Cold Mastery. You need level 20. You're missing 2 stages on your Arctic Armor right now because you're at 39% quality. It gains another stage when you reach 40% quality, and it also gains another stage when you reach level 20. You're at level 19. So you're missing like straight up 100% increased armor right now, or more. I think even more than that. So that's a really, really big upgrade. Moving to a 1923 Arctic Armor. You don't have to replace this, just use a level 19 gem on this, because you can still upgrade corrupted gems with levels. So that's definitely a really big upgrade you could make just like instantly. If you're feeling way too squishy, you can replace Elemental Weakness with either Temporal Chains or Enfeeble. Like, Ela Weakness is just for blasting through maps. It's not necessary. Definitely, like, you'll feel way tankier with a defensive curse. Rapid Attacks, Earthshatter, these are good. Frostwall, this is good. This is kind of a newer thing, but it's not related to defenses. You can replace Infernal Cry with Seismic Cry, because Seismic Cry is bugged, and it gives twice as much rage when you Warcry. So you can see here, I don't really care about the gain as extra from Infernal Cry anyways. It gets expended like instantly when you're rolling slashing. So if you use Seismic Cry, if you look at the rage gen here, I'm getting 16 rage per echo for 48 per Warcry use instead of 8. So I don't know why it's like this. I completely forgot about this, but Seismic Cry is a little bit better. Because you just stack up to max rage like instantly. This is solid. This is similar to the other profile I looked at. You don't have enough max life, right? This is just too low for a pure life melee build. You have to stack up some more max life. Like currently I'm at maybe 3.7, 3.8k after I have my motes up. That's enough that you're not going to get one shot unless you run onto like a gigantic volatile or maybe like a super buffed up Grand Expedition mob. If you're at like 2 point something k, it's just a little bit too squishy, right? So you need to get a little bit more max hit. Between the fact that you don't have the guard from the Mana Flask mod and you don't have much maximum life, no matter how much armor you stack up, you're not gonna you're still going to get one shot by some stuff, right? So either one or the other, or both if you can afford it, to really like just buff up your hit pool. Because like looking at this, you're at, you know, before you stack your motes up, you're probably at like 2.4k total hit pool. Whereas for me right now, if I hit my flask, right, I'm at 3.7k, 4k total around here, then 1.4k from this. That's like a 5.5k hit pool. It's like double what you're working with, right? Which is why I don't get one shot for the most part, unless I do something really, really stupid. So do be mindful about that. That's still kind of the weaker side of raw life builds. You don't get as much hit pool as ES builds. Dial-up, yeah. It takes a little bit to stack up to the correct amount of life. Jackal. Take a look at this. Does not exist. Oh, I doubled the profile. Oh, this is the Stag Launcher build. +2, Eternal Rage. It's a solid weapon. Gain us extra. Mirage Archer. You definitely need to level your grenades, by the way. If you're lacking for damage on grenade builds, like levels are super, super important. So getting a 2120 explosive grenade, getting a 2120 cluster grenade, it's a little bit, actually it's not even that expensive, man. Like perfect rulers are super cheap now. You don't have to buy these, you can just craft them. Like, if I cut a grenade, oh, I don't have a, okay, let me just cut some random thing, like earthshatter. Okay, earthquake, whatever. Just pretend this is a one of your grenades. You just perfect rulers. Like early in the league, this is annoying because perfect rulers are worth a lot. Right now, perfect rulers are like worth almost nothing. They're really, really cheap now. So you just perfect rulers it up, gem cutters, Val, and holy shit, I actually hit on the first one. And then even after you Val it, you can still up the level, right? Like I could still use a level 20 on this earthquake and get it to level 21. So basically just do what I just did, except with cluster grenade or with explosive grenade, and get those up to level 21. Because grenade levels are super, super important for damage. They get a lot out of each level. And then if you can manage to fit in Berserk, you probably have to fit in some kind of life regen, maybe. Actually, not even, because it's very low rage Berserk. So just fitting Berserk straight in, if you're actually able to, if you're able to fit the spirit, that'll give a lot of damage as well. Yeah, just make sure you don't use level 20s on non-corrupted. Like, make sure you get +1 before you use the level 20, or it's a waste, because level 20 gems are like, I think they're still 4 to 5 divines each for the uncut gems. Damage with hits against rare, unique enemies. How does it work with the build? Thank you for taking the... Yeah, no problem. It works fine. Like, if you find that you're not one-shotting rares, and, like, if you're one-shotting all of the white and blue monsters, and you're not really having trouble getting your herald chaining going, then sure, this mod is perfectly fine. Usually it comes in larger values than regular damage scaling mods, so it's perfectly fine to get. What I will say, though, is... in terms of herald chaining consistency, this doesn't really help out, because it's not just the damage of your earthshatter that matters, it's the damage of your herald device explosion and the armor explosion, right? Because if those do enough damage to actually one-shot mobs, then the kind of herald device chaining can proliferate and just like keep going and get those really, really big booms. And this stat doesn't help out with that. So I would say it's kind of like a tier 2 stat. It helps, it's good, but it's not as good as getting just raw increased damage or like raw increased elemental damage, if that makes sense. Because that will scale everything. Let me see. Did I skip anything? I did this one. I did this one. Holy, that's a profile. Okay, let me see. Ooh, Mjolnir. I really enjoyed Mjolnir, by the way, on this build. It's really easy to swap into it. Wait, is this a rune? There's a rune mastered full elemental Mjolnir? I didn't even know that. I was using the regular version. I legitimately had no idea the Runeforge had pure lightning. Okay, so what are the different upgrades? 1.45. What does this get? Oh, this is chance for lightning to chain. And this is higher flat fizz. Interesting. I straight up didn't search any Runemastered Mjolnirs. Pure lightning. I mean, that's not bad at all, because even if you don't have a bunch of cold damage for freezes, like, you're still proccing Cast on Elemental Ailment off your shocks in that case. So this could definitely work well. What was your question, though? Current Mjolnir plus Earthshatter setup? Yeah, this looks good. I don't know if Blood Rush is worth it. This is a pretty big travel for this amount of attack speed. I also feel like for Mjolnir builds, you don't need quite as much attack speed, because you're traveling with Lightning Warp, right? Where's your Mjolnir setup? Yeah, Lightning Warp. You can also put Fluke in here, or you can put a second Lightning Warp. I don't think you need quite as much attack speed on Mjolnir setups compared to non-Mjolnir, because you travel a lot more with the Lightning Warp as opposed to actually whirling. So I don't think this section is worth it. This is too many points just to get the skill speed. There's most likely something better, like this damage over here, or just some other cluster is going to give you more damage. Is what I would think. Also, this is really interesting. As far as I know, you cannot stack up these spirits. As soon as you get another spirit, it replaces the previous spirit. So I really don't recommend stacking up golden charms. Like, it helps in the sense that you get better uptime on the rarity, but it's only 15% rarity. So at most, I would use 2. I really don't think I would use 3. And personally, I just always use 1. I would not use 3. You're just replacing your previous spirits. They're not stacking. You don't have any recover life mana on kill right now, so that's really important to get. Otherwise, your mana costs are going to be kind of crappy. So definitely replace your Heart of the Well, get recover mana on kill. It's by far one of the most important mods. Even this here, like, if you just drop this, you can take the attack speed here, and I think that's just as good, if not better, for fewer points. Oops. Let me see. Huzzah. Actually, let me make sure I didn't skip anything. Here we go. Holy shit, I did the same thing again. Definitely better Sky Sliver. If you can afford a Headhunter, you can afford a better Sky Sliver. 2.2 is really, really low. And then ideally you get an attack speed socket. I think there are like 5 divines for the soul core right now, so it makes sense you didn't put one in this Sky Sliver because it's a cheap one. But when you get a more expensive spear, then I would definitely socket a soul core for attack speed. You have the wrong Rite of Passage. You definitely need Wolf. Wolf is mandatory for the armor break, otherwise you can't do the Herald of Ice chaining setup. Yeah, like right now, you've got the chaining setup in your Herald of Ice with Armor Explosion, Embitter, etc., but you can't proc it because you don't have Armor Break. The only source of Armor Break is from Spirit of Wolf when you kill a rare and get the Spirit active. So this is definitely one of the biggest upgrades to make. If you can't afford it yet, I think it's like 70 to 80 divines, then I would switch to like a normal Herald of Ice setup. Don't use Armor Explosion and Embitter because you have no way to actually proc these right now. It's not working in your setup. And then if you are feeling really squishy, again, the Mana Flask Guard mod is better than the Onslaught mod, just in terms of pure tankiness. Are you capped res? Wow, you're capped res with Headhunter and no... Whoa, you have crazy resists, man. I can't believe you're actually capped res like this. You don't even have that many resists. That's interesting. Oh, you have a roll on your... Okay, one thing I will say is this is useless. The Greater Storm Rune here for 18% lightning res, this is useless. You can replace this with a Rune of the Prism. It gives you 20% all res, and you don't get the penalty. Because normally Rune of the Prism has a penalty where you lose 10% max resistances. But Loreweave completely negates that. So you can get like 44% more resist here. This minus 10% to all maximum elemental resistances mod, it gets overrode by lore weaves. Your maximum resistances are set 76%. So definitely replace this. You can get a bunch of extra resists, and then you can open up some suffixes for, like, if you need survivability, you can add strength just to get more maximum life. If you want rarity, you can add rarity. You can get armor applies to elemental damage taken with those suffixes to have better, mitigation into elemental damage. So that's a way to sneak in some more survivability for sure. Yeah, rest is looking relatively solid. This is useless for you right now, by the way. Leatherbound gauntlets. Your gloves only have 200 armor. So leatherbound gauntlets, you're spending 3 points to get 200 flat armor, right? So either get higher flat armor pair of gloves, or if you're using this for the life damage, whatever, or it's too expensive to upgrade, just drop leatherbound gauntlets. Replace these nodes with something else. You don't have iron reflexes either. So even though you're getting leatherbound gauntlets, which is giving you evasion from the armor, you're not converting it back into armor anyways. So there's 2 options you can go with. Either take iron reflexes and upgrade your gloves to have more armor, or just drop all of this entirely and put these 3 points into something else. Oops. Let me see. Oh, it's Chinese characters, that's why. Okay. Hope this works. No! I don't know how to access your... Okay, you can add me on Discord. I don't want to... You can add me on Discord, and then just send me your link directly. Because I can't get this thing working, and I feel kind of bad. Okay, if you're still here. Sorry, I just cannot get your links working. Or wait, did I... Dragon and Lion Dance. Did I do this right? Sorry, I do want to get to you, because you've been waiting. Oh, there we go. Oh, perfect. Okay, I don't know why it didn't work the first time. Let me see what your question was. I'm assuming just upgrades. Okay. Damn, you got a nice helmet, man. What the fuck? Okay. Manifest, you got a really good lore weave, too. You can rune master your lore weave, by the way. If you don't want to corrupt it, you can rune master this. Just to get a little bit of extra ward and whatnot. But this is a really good lore weave. Shit, man, you have crazy gear. Your gear's better than mine. Rarity here. If you want some survivability, you can of course go for a life prefix here. And then if you're trying to max the character out for like rarity, you can do something like drop off the onslaught or drop off the guard and get one of the rarity lore weaves, because the lore weaves go up to 100% increased rarity. So it's a super easy way to get just a bunch of rarity. If you're searching up lore weaves like that, you have to click to the bottom option. Let me show you what I mean. Rarity do not apply. So for some reason, 2 different options will show up. Increased rarity of items found. Your other modifiers to rarity of items do not apply. And then there's a second one. I think it's because the first one is on a ring or something like that. So you have to click this one. And this will bring up the lore weaves that have the higher rarity rolls. You can see this one has 100%. So this is also an option if you want to save some suffixes for rarity to put those into more damage, resistances, life, and something like that. You can replace one of the mods on your lore weave with one of these rarity ones and just get all of your rarity off of your lore weave. So that's definitely an option. You've got silver, bismuth. What is basalt? I don't remember what this one is. 150% increased armor. It might be better to get the granite. I think the flat 2000 armor or flat 2000 evasion. But this is a really good lore. Holy fuck, man. Your gear is fucking cracked. 50% increased effect on double. Okay. Dude, your gear is fucking bonkers. What the hell? A faster Oral Vasara would be nice, but this is 2-socket, and it's kind of expensive to get a better one now. 60%. Your Sacred Flame can be upgraded for sure. Like, you can either get a Spirit Corrupted one if you want to fit more stuff, or you can get one that has more gain as extra fire. Because I think it goes up to like 72% or 73%. So your Sacred Flame can definitely be upgraded if you get a Corrupted one. 459. I would say same thing for you. You don't have a high armor pair of gloves, which is fine, but then I don't think you should be taking leather-bound gauntlets, because you're only getting a little bit of evasion. Like, mine have 900 armor, so I'm getting 900 evasion and converting it back with iron reflexes. You don't have iron reflexes, and you have a lower pair of armor gloves, so I don't think it's necessarily worth it to pick this up. You can just drop these 3 points and put it somewhere else. And then pick up, like, a jewel socket, because it looks like you're missing a jewel socket somewhere. I'm not sure where. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You just have an empty jewel. So definitely get that set up. Spirit of Wolf, Fall of the Axe. This is solid. Let me see your Heart of the Well. Mana on kill. Dude, your shit is good. Primal Sundering. Your Megalomaniac is not good though. Like, this doesn't really do anything. Especially if you're running the Elemental Weakness setup. Oh, I guess you don't have it set up yet. You're still building the character out. But this Megalo doesn't really do anything. Like, Primal Sundering's not one of the more important mods. It's just like luxury. So if you can get something with, like, I would say Stimulants is really good. Or you can get or if you can get Augmented Flesh or Paragon on your Megalo, then you could put Zarok's Gift on one of your actual anoints. That would be an upgrade for sure. But you have to finish building the character out, because it's missing a lot of stuff right now. Or it's just not updated. Dude, your gear is cracked though. Like, that shit is nuts. You definitely need to craft one of the Time Lost Ruby to put in here. I'm thinking how to balance life and rarity with your ring. Checks. Yeah, I'm sorry. They were really, really cheap when I made the guide. Like, I didn't want this to be a really expensive build, but stuff just goes up in price after putting stuff out. Yeah. The Time Lost Jewel, if it's expensive, there's a link in my MOBA guide. You don't have to craft one exactly like mine. There's, like, cheaper ones available that do almost the same thing. Although I don't think that's a problem for you looking at your build. Like, you have insane gear. So I'm assuming you have money. But if you click, for those of you who are trying to craft the Time Lost, if you click into the equipment priority section, use this link. This will have kind of, whoa, no, why did it go up? Okay, these were like 5 divs before, but they're still not terrible. If you use this link, then all you have to do is use an Ancient Potent Liquid Melancholy to give it the very large radius, and these will do just fine, because these are double mod. These have, like, Rage on melee hit plus % increased effect of notable passive skills, which is, like, not quite as good as max rage, but it's almost as good, because you're clicking a lot of notables in that area. So anybody that's, like, trying to put the Time Lost together, and you can't get a +1 max rage, just use this link and buy one of these instead. And there's no 50-50 either, because the prefixes here don't matter. If you get a max rage one, it's a 50-50, because you might knock it off with the very large radius. So this is an option if you're watching, like, if you're still trying to craft your Time Lost. Look at mine. Here we go. Huzzah. Oh, you're doing Bone Shatter. I will absolutely say I really don't recommend Bone Shatter. Like, I tried it a lot. I went back and forth between Whirling Slash and Bone Shatter. I fucking hate Bone Shatter, man. This skill sucks ass. It is not on the same level as Whirling Slash. It goes further on, like, a per... Every time you Bone Shatter, it goes further than Whirling Slash. But number one, you can't get as high attack speed compared to a spear. Number two, the Bone Shatter alternate quality completely sucks when you're just using it for movement, whereas the alternate quality for Whirling Slash is like 20% more attack speed. Where is this? Yeah, 22% more attack speed. But the main thing is the knockback, man. Like this whirlwind, when you whirl into mobs, they just get pushed away from you. So you can just keep whirling forward. Bone Shatter gets stuck on fucking everything. On corners, on monsters, on white monsters. You just get stuck. It feels so bad, man. You just have to like non-stop spam your Earth Shatter to make sure you're not running into any mobs. It feels really, really bad to me. So I do absolutely recommend trying out Whirling Slash. And trying the fast whirl tech if you're on PC. Because again, there's two different speeds of whirling. If you don't know how Whirling Slash works, like this is slow whirl, but if you hold your cursor really close and WASD, you can do the fast whirl like this, and it goes like maybe 30-40% faster than regular whirl speed. So if you feel slow, this is regular whirl speed. You see how my character is kind of like shaking back and forth like it has a seizure? Like look at the head of my character, it's bouncing, right? That's regular whirl, and this is the sped up whirl. When you hold your cursor close, your whirl must be bound to one of your mouse buttons. Hold the mouse button down, hold your cursor really close to your character in the direction you're going, and then WASD in the direction you're going, and you get the fast whirl, like this. I don't use it all the time because it's really annoying to do, like, in between Earth Shatters like this, so I don't do it all the time. But if I'm trying to travel a long distance between packs or I'm backtracking, then I'll do the fast whirl, right? Because it's, like, significantly faster. I don't know a single advantage Bone Shatter has. I tried it so many times, it just sucks. I really think whirling is just on a completely different level from Bone Shatter. It makes a gigantic difference in the game feel of the character. Because I had a flanged mace that had even higher attack speed than this. Mine had like 2.2 or something. It still felt way worse. Okay, your Oro is decent, kind of low attack speed, but it's serviceable. You can definitely get a better Sacred Flame. 52% is a really low roll. Rarity, Chill. This is pretty good. This is a nice lore weave. Again, if you want better defenses, you can go for the... what's it called? You can go for the Mana Flask guard option, but this is a nice lore weave already. It looks like you're having trouble capping your resist because you're at zero chaos res. So if you go into Breach or something like that, there's some mobs in Breach, like the Tentacle one, I think, that just does a gigantic amount of chaos damage. So you definitely need to fit in chaos res into here somehow. What you can do is trade out your Greater Body Rune for Rune of the Prism to get a bunch of max all res, or to get 20% all res on your lore weave. That way you open up some suffixes to get some more chaos res. That's definitely an option. Oh, you don't have Spirit on your amulet. Let me see. Let me see what your question was. Rite of Passage. Next upgrade. I would say I wouldn't over-prioritize the plus melee here. Because you start to run into mana issues either way, and you can get plus melee on gloves. Well, it's not bad. You don't have plus melee on gloves. I would say if you're able to do so, though, fitting in a little bit of extra spirit, either from Spirit on Amulet, or if you can get a Corrupted Sacred Flame. Yours is at 115 spirit. These go up to like 140 spirit. So that's enough to fit everything minus, like, if you take out like Precision, because I have a little bit of excess spirit. So I've got like Precision 1 on, right? So you don't actually need as much spirit as I have. I think if you can get away with like 140, 130, something like that. So you don't need fully as much spirit as I have. But if you can get some extra spirit to actually fit everything in, that would be really nice. But yeah, these are solid. Solid. You need some max life, man. You've got like 0 maximum life on any of your gear except for your boots. It's a really, really high priority on life builds to get enough raw hit pool to not just get one shot. It doesn't matter how much armor you have, you will get one shot if you don't have enough hit pool. So if you look at my gear, I have max life wherever I can get it, right? I've got max life on my amulet. I've got it on both rings. I've got tier 1 life on my gloves. I've got tier 1 life on my boots. I have no life on my helmet, but I've got a full armor helmet with max life from armor, right? So that's why I'm able to push up to like 3.7, 3.8k hit pool with my motes up. So definitely put some priority there if you're feeling squishy. Get some chaos res, get some max life. Because right now I think your hit pool is just too low. But besides that, it looks okay. Let me see. Oh, yo, Bio Remnants. This guy's the GOAT, by the way. This is my favorite viewer. Uhtred's Augury. Let me go from the top though. Corrupted Sacred Flame with 2 sockets and got Aura Magnitude slotted in. I'm not sure either. Because the thing with the Aura Magnitude is I think it comes with the same line that reduces your presence radius, right? So it reduces the value of your Sacred Flame as well, if I'm not mistaken. I might be thinking of a different rune, but I think... Aura Magnitude. Yeah, reduced presence area of effect. This is really good if you're using Rakiatas. It's really bad if you're not using Rakiatas, because this is reducing the final line on Sacred Flame. The enemies in your presence resist elemental damage based on their lowest resistance. This is a really good mod if you're not using Rakiatas, right? Because if something has 75 fire res, 75 lightning res, and 0 cold res, it'll resist everything based on that 0 cold res. Or maybe that's a bad example because we're doing mostly cold damage. If it has 75 cold res, 75 fire res, 0 lightning res, it'll resist cold damage based on that 0 cold res, but only if it's in your presence, right? That rune that you put in cuts your presence radius, so that stuff is most likely not actually going to be in your Sacred Flame radius. This is really good if you have Rakiatas, because this last line is really bad with Rakiatas. You don't want this last line if you have inverted resistances. If you don't have Rakiatas, it's really bad to do that, so I would not socket that into your Scepter. If you can't find something good to put in, it might just be like a strength rune or something like that for some more life, or just selling the Sacred Flame and picking up a better corruption that has like more gain as extra or more spirit is what I would say. Because I don't think there's anything super valuable to put in there. But you could do that. You could replace your rapid attacks with Rakiat. Not for this setup, for the guy who's asking about the 2-socket Scepter. You could drop rapid attacks in your Earthshatter for Rakiatas. You can swap out Elemental Weakness for Temporal Chains or Enfeeble for a more defensive setup, because you do not want Ele Weakness, you do not want Exposure, you do not want this final line on Sacred Flame if you have Rakiatas, right? It has super bad anti-synergy. So again, if you want to make use of your Scepter and you want to make use of that that rune, Rakiatas, drop your Elemental Weakness, and swap out the Refraction 3 in Warbanner for Refraction 2. Because Refraction 3 provides elemental exposure, which is really bad with Rakiatas, right? Again, not for this guy, it's for the guy asking about the 2 sockets. Thoughts on Eye of Winter on Gemling, since quality can get it to... What the fuck, really? Excuse my language. I have not read... Let me turn the AC on real quick, by the way. Wow, that is really cool, man. I have not seen that. So you have 100% chance for it to return. Gain damage of corresponding type when passing over an elemental ground effect. This doesn't work with taming, right? Like, it's not a wind skill, so it wouldn't work with taming. Yeah, wind... I'm not sure how you would use this, but you would get a lot of prod speed, and you do get the return. That sounds really cool. Is there a limit on this? You can only... Projectile cold. 30 shard projectiles per second. If you use something like multi-shot on this, you cannot send out multiple Eye of Winters, right? It just increases the actual shard projectile count. That's really interesting. Let me see if anybody's playing with this. I have not seen that. That's really cool. Eye of Winter main skill. I'm assuming that they're not using this for actual damage, though. Yeah, these are like Spark Cock Comet setups. He's just using it for... I'm not even sure what he's using it for, to be honest with you. It's not... Releases shard projectiles as it flies. I will have to do some thinking on this one and get back to you. Like, I have very low experience with caster builds, so nothing comes to mind right away. But I have you on Discord, so I'll get back to you on this one. That's really cool, man. That's a sick quality. What do you reckon is the most important upgrades from your cheap version to the higher budget one? Rite of Passage, Spirit of Wolf is definitely one of the most important, so you can get Herald of Ice Chaining online. That way you can get like the big screen booms instead of just having like more limited AoE. And I think that's only like 70 or something divines right now. It also gives you quality, or sorry, rarity. So that's definitely one of the biggest upgrades. And then if you can get Spirit on your amulet, it doesn't need to be 50 Spirit. Even if you don't swap over to the Scepter setup, as long as you get Spirit on your amulet, you can drop your Freezing Mark and put in Scavenge Plating to get a bunch more armor. But that's a prerequisite for that is getting the Spirit of Wolf, right? Because that's where you get your armor break for Scavenge Plating from. But that's a really good upgrade you can make on the cheaper version right away without spending too much. Probably like 80, 90 divines for that upgrade for the charm plus a better amulet. And then you'll have like fucking 40k more armor out of the blue while mapping. Do I have a Discord link? No, I don't have a Discord link. I feel like I've been asked about this a few times, like if I would set up a Discord, but I feel like I'm not experienced enough to really have my own PoE Discord right now. Like, like I'm still very much inexperienced with a lot of parts of the game, so I don't know. It feels weird making a Discord, and like I don't feel like I'd be able to help out with as many questions as I would like to. So I feel a little bit weird about that. Also, I'm just a really small channel, right? Like it feels weird setting up a Discord server if my channel is this small. Maybe if I reach like, I don't know, 10k subs or something like that, it's big enough to justify, but I don't know how many people would join right now. And I don't know how much help I would be in a Discord server because I don't know. I'm still learning as well, right? Like there's a lot of parts of the game that I'm not so familiar with. Total Spirit needed an endgame budget and high budget build. All you need is Spirit on your amulet. That's literally it. Like, you don't even need tier 1, because you can just cut out the precision 1. So if I calculated this out, I would need about 255 on this set, and about 140 on the other set. So like, 40 Spirit from your amulet, you're done. That's all you need. Not hard to get it to return back with. Yeah. Global phys damage versus attack damage. We don't deal any physical damage. Yeah, so just attack damage. I might be stuck in Omen Hell and looking for a way out. What is this on? Like, what are you crafting? Global phys. Are you crafting a time loss ruby? But yeah, either way, we don't use fizz damage, so yeah. I think diamonds, it's definitely go for plus max rage. If you have money and you know how to do the craft, the increased prefix or suffix is really good. Flat, just percent increased attack damage, percent attack speed, and percent elemental damage. That would be like the best 5 mod diamond to go for. But it's expensive, so I didn't really bother. Because it's not a crit scaling build, right? Like, jewels are super important for scaling crit builds because you can get crazy 5 mod crit jewels. But for a build like this that's like super generic, no crit scaling, no like other scaling vector, you start getting kind of reduced value from stacking on more increased damage. Like it's still an upgrade, but it's so small that I didn't feel like spending the money on it. You're using Rakiatas and don't want to use Blasphemy with Elemental Weakness. You think Eternal Rage is best for me. You don't need Eternal Rage. Just replace Elemental Weakness. Put in Temporal Chains or put in Enfeeble. And also, 100%, you need to replace your Refraction 3 with Refraction 2. 80% exposure, this is cut to 40% on bosses, but lowering their resistances by 40% is destroying your Rakiatas. Your Rakiatas is probably making you do like lower damage by having it in right now if you have Refraction 3. So absolutely replace this with Refraction 2, and then drop Elemental Weakness for a more defensive curse. I don't think you need Eternal Rage. I hate Eternal Rage, man. I feel like it's such a lazy solution that 99% of builds, you just don't need it. Like, let's say that you're in a map, it doesn't matter because you're always hitting stuff and generating and like, you know, like keeping up maximum rage. But like, look at this. If I enter a map or I enter an Arbiter fight or I enter some Pinnacle fight, I hit my Warcry, one button, I'm almost at maximum rage, man. Like, I don't know why people like shoving Eternal Rage into their builds. It's so much spirit for like nothing. Absolutely nothing. You need to press this like 2 times per map. You go into the map, you press it once, you're almost at maximum rage, you hit like 2 mobs, you're at maximum rage, and if the boss has like a long cutscene and your rage starts to drop off, you hit it again, and you have maximum rage, right? So, at least in my opinion, Eternal Rage is a gigantic, gigantic waste. Even beyond Seismic Cry, you can literally just hit your own frost wall, which you're doing anyways, because when you're about to go into a boss that has a cutscene, like let's say Arbiter of Divinity, right? Arbiter of Ash, either way, you're putting down some frost walls in advance so that you can proc your Vergless, right? And you also want to Earthshatter in advance so you can put down spikes, because your Earthshatter does more damage based on how many spikes it has out, right? So any boss with a cutscene, you have time. So you can always just Warcry and then put down your thing, which you would do anyways. You whack it and look at this, right? I'm at maximum rage already within like 1 or 2 seconds during the cutscene. So definitely not Eternal Rage. Like that thing is just, it's okay on some builds that have just 0 access to rage generation, but not a build like this. Like you easily max out your rage already. Yeah, Enfeeble's really good. Not running the... Yeah, if you don't like to run banner, you don't have to run banner. Like, it depends what content you run. If you're mostly just chaining 200% deli and just sprinting through the map, you don't need the banner, right? You're not really even going to place it that often. Okay. Let me think what to do. If there's no more questions, I'll either end stream or just, like, chill and nap for a little bit. It's up to you guys. I just wanted to pop on just in case people like were having trouble setting the build up. I don't even know if I can map on stream because I play on a laptop, so it's pretty laggy when I'm streaming. Oh fuck! That was the fucking. I just sold everything. I thought it was my stash. Can I check your build? Yeah, I can check your build. Just drop the profile link. Also, let me close out of these tabs. This is horrible. Just link me your thing, like everything after profile. Okay, I'm just trying to spread Grand Mirrors right now. Alright, let me see if I'm actually able to map when I'm streaming. I don't know if I can. Like, I can actually barely record when I can barely play when I'm recording either, because the lag is really bad, and I freeze a lot. Oh, this FPS is terrible. Maybe one day I'll get a PC. Don't stream on a laptop, man. This is garbage FPS. Also, this is probably my least favorite boss in the game. Like, I don't understand why they do this thing where you have to wait for him cast. I'm lacking... Oh, here we go. Even though I'm not running... Oh, it's because you need Augmented Flesh, man. Augmented Flesh is... I talked about this in the... I think the gear section in the video. I've got it on a Megalomaniac, and it gives +2 additional skill slots. But it's kind of expensive to get the Megalos now because I did that video showing how to get extra motes with Augmented Flesh. So these were like 50 Exalts. They're like 50 Divines now. So I would recommend anointing it instead of Stimulants. So you want Paragon and you want Augmented Flesh in order to get 2 extra skill slots. That's how you fit everything. The Spearfield Drifter, I would say if you invest crazy amounts of currency, yes, you can kind of do it, but I don't recommend it. Like, when I made that character, my intent was not to really farm 200 deli. I just wanted to play Spearfield. Like, I wanted to play a really fast Spearfield build because it's a really fun skill for me. I didn't really go into it intending to push it for like 200% deli because it's not a super suitable skill for that. It has a really low like base attack damage percent. So just in terms of the way the skill works, it's not suited to super tanky content. It feels really good for just like speed running regular content. I would not bother pushing that for 200% deli. If you have the character and you really want to do 200% deli, I would say pivot it into a different spear skill or pivot it into something like earthshatter because the raw damage percent on that skill is just lacking for really tanky content. Hundreds of divines now for yeah, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what to do about that because I try to make relatively budget builds, right? Like that's why I recommend the Oral Visara instead of a rare mace. I try not to do super expensive builds, but it's just the prices keep going up, so I don't quite know how to handle that. Yeah, it's really fun for like I legitimately feel a little bit bad about that build because it kind of like opened my eyes a little bit. Like people were complaining it's like really squishy, it can't do 200% deli. Um and the thing is for me, when I go to make a build, I'm not necessarily trying to make the strongest build possible that can clear all content. Oftentimes when I go into a build, it's just like I've never used this skill before, so I kind of want to try it. Or I just want a really fast blaster for this point in the league. I'm not trying to make something that like farms pinnacles or whatever, right? Um but I guess at this point, the problem is if I'm going to make guides and it's getting a decent amount of views, like there are people that are going to want to take each build all the way through the game, right? Because they don't have as much playtime, they can't reroll as often. So I kind of need to think about that a little bit more. Um, like I don't think it's a bad build. I had a lot of fun on that build. It's one of my favorite characters, but I feel quite bad that like people didn't have that good of an experience on it because it can't do 200% deli and it's a little bit squishy. So that's something that I need to think about a little bit more. Finish crafting. How can you send? You can just do what these guys are doing. Like you can. Oh, you mean just link me in game? It's Gremlin League Aware. Gemling Legionnaire. You can link the jewel in game if you want. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's a little weird for me because when I started making builds and making build guides, I didn't think it would get very many views. Like I wasn't intending that many people to follow the builds. I was just like if I made a build and it felt kind of fun and I thought like maybe somebody else would like playing it, I would just like put it up. But that build got more views than I was expecting, which means the prices go up is the big problem, right? Because when I recommend a build on a budget, like if I recommend like Spearfield with a series Contempt or Ordained and things like that, and it works decently on a lower budget that I made the character at, then it's not as bad if it can't do all content, right? But when people invest a lot of currency into a character, they expect to be able to do all content, and the problem is the prices keep going up when there's more views on the build guides. So I think that's part of what created the bad experience of like they had to invest more to make the character than I did, and then they weren't able to do all content. So it's like understandable that they didn't have a good time with it. Um, I don't know. I'll have to think on how to approach that part better. Yeah, this can work as well. But the thing is, you prefer having the cold rune forged Oral Vasara because it also has a really good amount of flat cold damage, right? It's not just the cold conversion; it's the fact that when you upgrade to the cold Oro, it gains like a really significant amount of flat cold. The base Oral Vasara, look at its base damage. It's basically non-existent, right? Um, not non-existent, but it's not amazing. But if you look at the cold version, right, this is let me. Okay, I'll just look at my weapon in game. Right, this is a really solid amount of base damage. Even before you add on the extra flat lightning from stacking the power, this is still like a 350 elemental DPS mace, which is not good, but it's not non-existent. You can enter a map and still kill stuff before you stack stuff up, right? So I would still definitely recommend going for the cold version. It's really not that expensive to make. You just need like 3 copies of the base ones, and you'll probably get one. Chimeric Bliss. Oh, fuck. That is a really nice one, man. Yo, you divined this thing like a beast. How much? Why is it not? Oh, it is plus 3 rage. That is a really nice jewel, man. If you're making jewels like this, then instead of running Idol of Sirius, you should be using what's it called? Cadigan's Epiphany to break the socket in your gloves, unless you have like 2 socket gloves or 3 socket gloves, right? If you only have a 1 socket pair of gloves, use Cadigan's Epiphany to bring another jewel socket and stick another jewel in there. And instead of running stimulants, anoint Zarok's gift so you can fit another jewel. If you're like really min-maxing and pushing like fucking crazy jewels like this, then you want to fit as many as you can, right? The only thing is watch out for the degen, because if your max rage gets too high, it might be kind of unpleasant in terms of your berserk degen. You might not be able to like reach a comfortable point because we're life based instead of CI. So do be mindful of that. So maybe you don't want too many max rage jewels. 1 div? That's a fucking sick div, man. Wait, that's a perfect div. Oh no, the effective prefixes could be better, but that's a fucking crazy div, man. I would expect that to take like 50 divs to hit that roll at least. That's crazy, man. That's a really nice jewel. Yeah, 2 socket. Yeah. Again, just be careful of the max rage. I think you reach a certain point where it's like, yeah, you can keep min-maxing and juicing your damage, but it's not worth it from a character integrity standpoint. Like, you can keep pushing plus melee levels on all your gear slots, right? You can get like a really good rare mace with plus melee levels on amulet, plus melee levels on gloves. The problem is your mana reaches a point where it's just unsustainable, and it's not worth the damage because you already have enough damage, right? So just keep that in mind. Make sure that you're going for overall character balance instead of just like stat padding the sheet. So not too many max rage jewels, I think. Yeah, congrats. That's a really nice fucking jewel, man. I wish I had that jewel. I was like thinking about I was thinking about crafting something like that, and I was like, it's too expensive. My bum ass cannot make jewels like that. Yeah. Does anyone know how to spread, like, get grand mirrors better? Like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong, because I see people with fog all over their atlas, and I'm just, like, out here chaining deli maps on, like, just trash travel maps to get grand mirrors, and it's so slow, man. I can barely get these things up. 8? Ooh, that's not bad. I thought it'd be more. That's actually really good. But yeah, if anybody knows how to spawn grand mirrors like more rapidly, I don't know what I'm doing wrong here, because it takes me so long to get 200% deli zones up. Oh man, my FPS is in the tank right now. Let me... I'm like definitely gonna die to a volatile while I can't see anything. Oh man, I didn't bring any liquid Versium. Oh, shader's loading. Fantastic. How do you get tankier? I have 20k armor and hideout with Arctic armor fully stacked, but I die often. You can link your character, but it's probably going to be pretty similar advice to what I gave other people. You're probably missing max life rolls on your gear, so your overall hit pool is low, and there is a chance that you probably don't have the Mana Flask on guard, or a guard on Mana Flask mod on your lore weave. Do I have max chaos res? Yeah, I think I'm almost capped. I was capped in the... What the fuck, lag? 1 second. Sorry, I'm on a laptop, so I have really bad FPS when I'm streaming or recording. I'm like slightly off cap because I changed some of my gear over, but I'm almost capped on chaos res, yeah. If you're having trouble getting chaos res, put a rune of the prism in your lore weave, and it'll give you 20% all res without giving the penalty, and then you can open up a suffix for chaos res. Also, sorry for bouncing back and forth. I do not have a second monitor, so here we go. It's not quite working. Can you try relinking that? I'm not able to open this one for some reason. Jeez. Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry. I must have done something wrong. Onslaught, Chill Shatter. If you're feeling squishy, definitely the guard mod, as I've mentioned. You need some flat life on your gear. You've got nothing, man. Yeah, you've got like a single life roll on all of your gear combined. So definitely get a ring here that's dropping the maximum mana for some life. You don't need an unset ring unless you don't have augmented flesh. Paragon. Megalo. You do have it. Okay, I'm not sure why you're running an unset ring here. You don't need that last slot. I'm assuming this is just for the free motes. So drop this, get a ring that has like rarity or resistance as a implicit, and then get a max life prefix. You'd need more max life on like every single slot. I get max life on every single slot I can get it. It's super, super important. What percent rarity of items am I running right now? Nothing. I don't care about rarity. If I wanted rarity, I would run a rarity lore weave. I don't care about rarity because I don't need the money. Like, I don't make really, really expensive builds. I usually limit my builds to the cost of like a mage blood plus total gear that equals like maybe the cost of a mage blood or less. So this character with everything combined, I think I spent under 1,000 divs on this because I bought my mage blood earlier and I had a lot of this stuff already. But in terms of total cost of this character, it's maybe like 1,200 divs, with 700 of that being the mage blood. So the thing is, I don't make really expensive builds. I don't make like multi-thousand div builds and run mirror gear. Like I'm running a one divine weapon, right? So I don't feel like there's much point in me stacking up a bunch of rarity. Even just running 200% deli and just not even doing specific farm strats. I almost always have enough money to run my next build anyways. So I don't really over prioritize getting rarity. I feel like rarity's a little bit of a bait unless you plan to spend a really long time on the character in general. Because if you reroll a lot like me, getting rarity doesn't pay itself off for quite some time. Not only do you have to buy expensive gear that has rarity on it, you're losing suffixes, you're losing prefixes, which means that it's harder to cap your resistances, it's harder to get life, it's more difficult to scale your character to a point where you're running really difficult content. And if you get your character to the point where you're running 200% deli with no problem and just zooming through the map, you're dropping like 3 divines a map anyways with 0 rarity. It doesn't matter. So you're still generating currency at a really high rate as long as you get your character strong enough to actually do all the content. So to get all that rarity on your gear and still reach that level of power, you have to pay a lot. You need like really, really good gear to give up those suffixes, which means when you farm with the rarity, you're not just getting more currency. First, you have to make back all the currency you spent to put the rarity on your gear in the first place. And then you have to farm some more to get value out of the rarity, right? And at that point, it's like, I don't even farm that much, man. I get to level 97, I get to level 98, and I reroll to a new build because I want to try something new, right? So I don't spend enough time farming on my characters to really justify to myself maxing out my gear with like super good rolls and rarity and things like that. It just feels very unnecessary for me. It's not the same for everyone. Like if you tend to stick to one character per league or just like one character for a really long time, then yeah, it makes sense to get rarity. But at least for me, it's like, literally if I run 0 rarity, over the course of making a character, I will generally make a surplus of like 500 to 1,000 divs more than what I spent making the character, and that's enough to make my next character, right? So I've just never really bothered with stacking rarity on any of my characters. That's just my take though, and my preferences. Um. Oh, I didn't finish. Oh yeah. This is just you need life, man. Also, you shouldn't be using stag. You need Spirit of the Wolf. Let me see if you have a. Yeah, you're using a Herald of Ice armor explosion setup. You don't have any way to armor break except for Spirit of the Wolf, which provides armor break from all your damage. So I would say replace your stag, sell this off, and pick up a wolf for like 70 divines. That way you can get the big Herald pops. Replacement for Uhtred's Augury for elemental weakness. Anything. Just toss some stuff in there. It's like the only reason I have that in there is because I had an Uhtred's Augury for my last character. Those types of upgrades, Diala's, Uhtred's, her Embrace, or whatever it's called, her Declaration, right? Her Declaration. This thing, I bought it like 10 divines. Apparently, it's like 150 divines or something now. It's so useless, man. You don't need this. Where's divine? Am I blind? Oh, here. Yeah, 120 divines. That is a crazy price. Its effect is not worth that. Like these kinds of upgrades, Uhtred's, her declaration, Diala's, that is like if you have too much money and you have no idea what to spend it on, that's when you buy these. They're not that meaningful. Each of them just increases your overall character power by like 1 to 2% each. They're really not very like potent. The thing with her declaration as well is this doesn't even work half the time on this character because we're entering presence range by whirling and we don't have the scepter active in the whirling set. So a lot of the time you don't even get this up. The only reason I have this in is because I already had it and I thought it was cheap because when I bought it was 10 divines and now it's like 110 divines. So something like this, something like Uhtred's, just don't put it in. Put in whatever you want and it's going to do the exact same thing. They're not meaningful at all to the character power. Any critique on this Twister build? Should you re-roll? My only critique for if you should re-roll is are you bored and are you feeling weak? Like if you're not having fun on a character, yeah, re-roll. It doesn't matter how good or bad it is. Just, it's a game. You can get a better spear for sure, by the way. Just something with higher attack speed. That's a really nice ordained, man. It's a great roll. Guiding Palm of the Eye. What is going on here? Flasks gain charges per second. You need to replace this. You need to replace your Idol of Maxarius with the idol that gives 15% spirit. I forget the name. Rabbit Idol. I'm not quite sure why you have this one in here. You can also get a way better Guiding Palm of the Eye. This is like a 5 Exalt Guiding Palm. It's under-corrupted. The 25% damage went down to 24%. So I wouldn't even put the Idol in here. I would just get a new Guiding Palm of the Eye. This is really cheap to upgrade. Why do you have this one? It's also a 4-socket. It's not even a 5-socket. So definitely replace this guy. Max life. Yo, what's going on here? You've got like a 200, 300 Divine Amulet, and you've got like a 4 Exalt Scepter. Definitely replace this, man. You can get something way better on your budget. You've got good gear. You've got Headhunter. You've got a like big amulet. I'm not quite sure why you have this guy. This is good. Taming. If you want to, you can go for a +2 Progcraft on gloves, but I don't know how expensive those are. Fire res. This is on a Gemling, yeah. Hawk Idol, Fox Idol, Rabbit Idol. Yeah, I mean the rest looks relatively solid. Wolf. I don't have many complaints here. I mean, I'm no Twister expert. I think your gear overall looks solid besides this guy. Besides the spear having low AS, any glaring issues in the setup? Palm of the Dreamer with this build, or would it fuck up the Herald chain? You can do it, but I don't think it has much value, is all. Like, I'm not sure what the value towards the build is, because the radius on the Palm of Dreamer explosion is smaller than the Herald radius, so it's kind of like, what is it really adding to the build? It's expensive, it's more expensive than the other scepters, it's adding chaos damage and a relatively low amount, right? Because with Sacred Flame, you can get like 60 to 70% gain. Whereas Palm of the Dreamer, it's like 20% something chaos. And you're not scaling it either the way you are with elemental damage, right? With penetration, exposure, elemental weakness. So I also think the reduced skill effect duration probably minorly hurts some stuff. Um, I guess it wouldn't be that meaningful. Like, it would reduce your banner duration, but that's not that big of a deal. I guess that's kind of it. It would reduce your Frostwall duration, but nobody cares about that. It would technically reduce your Earthshatter fissure duration. That might actually be meaningful. Because the way Earthshatter works is you want your fissures, you want your spikes maxed out at all times, right? Because it gains 13% more damage per spike you have out. And when you're kind of like running through maps, if your spikes are disappearing more quickly, then you might not have maximum spikes when you do your next Earthshatter. So I would actually say guiding the what's it called, Palm of the Dreamer, it might actually just be worse, straight up worse than a regular Shrine Scepter. It probably is. It's not that it would fuck up the Herald chain. It's just I don't think it adds any value to the build, and it actually actively hurts it in very small ways. The giant skeleton from Act 3 is bugged. You can barely hit it with Earthshatter. He's bugged when he spawns in, if I recall correctly, or that might have been patched. But you need to spawn your Earthshatters away from the pit. Earthshatter cannot be summoned on terrain, right? So if I try to Earthshatter here, you see how it's fizzling, right? Nothing comes out. The way that big skeleton dude works is if the big pit that he's in, that's terrain. So you can't Earthshatter onto it. So instead of Earthshattering here, you need to like pick a spot really close to the wall and Earthshatter like here. And that's how you fight those bosses. It shouldn't be a big problem. But this is quite annoying when it's like in abyss pits and things like that, because you have to make sure you're not Earthshattering on top of the abyss pit. Otherwise, the Earthshatter doesn't come out. You have to Earthshatter like around the abyss pit and kind of wiggle your mouse a little bit. Yeah. Let me restart my client real quick because I am like super lagging. Sorry, my laptop just cannot handle streaming and PoE at the same time. Alright, hopefully that's a little better. Oh, it is laggy, man. Bro, I'm not a fan of the way how some endgame is set up right now. Like, I don't like having to do these travel maps to farm Grand Mirrors. Like, I'd like to just be able to chain 200% deli. Maybe there's something wrong with how I have my deli stuff set up, but like, doing like boss rush on these travel maps is such a bore. Oops. No mirror. Oh, maybe it's because I have. How do I? Hmm. I'll figure that out if I ever do another stream. I do corrupt one here. But yeah, if there's no more questions, I'll probably wrap up soon. Where's the... Am I blind? Oh, there we are. Can you actually hear the clicks?
Good news for you.
I set my thing up on my mic up on the other side because I thought the mouse would be really loud, but so... Bro, I had my character set up to not care about temp chains because before I was using a Megalo with warding potions, which clears curses when I use my mana flask. I thought when I swapped over to the augmented flesh setup that the time of need would clear curses for me because I didn't know about the timer resetting whenever I weapon swap. So I don't have curse clear on my character anymore. I feel like I kind of downgraded. I'd have to get a Megalo that has warding potions or warding flasks plus augmented flesh, and I don't even know if that exists. I kind of doubt it does. How to not get randomly one-shot? You need more life. You need to stack up max life on your gear, and you need the guard on Mana Flask mod. Because life builds just don't have very high hit pool, right? So if you juice the content up too hard, occasionally there's going to be stuff that one-shots you, no matter how much armor you have, if you don't have a big enough hit pool. So just make sure that you're getting like tier 1, tier 2 max life rolls on pretty much every single slot of gear that you can get it on. Is this my favorite Gemling build? Yes. This is the favorite build I've run this league. I basically never play past level 97. I get to level 97, I map a little bit, and then I re-roll because there's always other builds that I want to try. I'm level 98 on this build, and I'm still playing it. Like, I really, really enjoyed this build. It feels a little bit weird to play on stream because I have kind of bad FPS issues, but it's just really enjoyable. Like, the character hits just right for me. It's got, like, the right balance of activity and not having too many buttons. It's like 2 buttons with Whirling Slash plus Earthshatter, but it's still active. I get really bored if I play like full Auto Bomber builds, just like dodge rolling around and stuff for too many builds in a row. Like, I like having some activity, and this character, even though it only has 2 buttons for the most part, like, it has a lot of activity with the cursor control and the like overall control of the character, which for me just makes it like more interesting to play. I just get too bored if I play an Auto Bomber for too long. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite build of the league overall. So far. How much rarity am I running? 0. I don't care about rarity. I talked about this a little bit earlier. I feel like if you're running 200% deli, you're averaging like 3 divs per map. Even if you run 0 farm strats and 0 rarity, you're still averaging like 3 divs per map or something like that. And on this build, you can speedrun a single 200% deli map in like a minute and a half. So if I literally do nothing and have no rarity, and I don't do like 200, I don't do like full abyss tablets, I don't do, like full three rare monster from unstable breach tablets on city zones. If I literally just run regular tablets that have a little bit of item rarity and increased monster rares, I still make like 50 divs an hour or something like that. So it's like, I don't see the point in stacking more rarity because I don't even use that much money in my builds. If I used all that money in my builds, nobody would be able to play them, right? It'd be too expensive. So I don't bother with rarity whatsoever. I don't care about that stat personally. But that's just me. Like, there's nothing wrong with stacking rarity. That's just my personal way of playing. I have never really cared about rarity. Because the other thing is, if I really need money, like, it's faster to make money in this game just crafting. Like, sitting in my hideout for like an hour, if I really wanted money for something, would get me cash a lot faster than actually mapping with rarity, right? Unless you're doing like 6-man farms with leeches and supports and stuff. So I don't really care about it, to be honest with you. It just makes it more annoying to actually build the character out because you have to like really min-max your resistances. When you start fitting in rarity, it's like I just end up sitting on the trade site when I'm really min-maxing a character, staring at the gear, trying to buy the perfect item that like fully maxes out my stuff, and it's like it feels like a waste of time after a certain point where I just want to play the character and get into a map. So yeah. Oops. Bro, my FPS while streaming is not it. I can like barely pilot this guy. Yeah. It's not necessarily the same for you, right? Like if you're like a dad gamer and you stick on like one build for a long time because you just don't have enough playtime, then definitely stacking a little bit of rarity is good. The generally recommended threshold is there's a soft cap at 150% rarity. So don't go over 150, but anywhere honestly from like 100 to 150, you're like really, really solid and good to go. When I do put rarity on my characters, it's always just like 50 to 100, and I don't bother pushing past that. Like 15 rarity from Rite of Passage, you get a little bit of rarity from your Lore Weave, maybe like one rarity roll on each ring, and you're going to be at like maybe 60-70% rarity overall. I think that's a really good amount personally. Like I don't think, unless you're making like giga expensive builds, I don't think you need more than that. Dude, I have run like 10 maps in a row without spawning a Grand Mirror. I gotta be doing something wrong.
So, today's finally the day. Hey, old friend?
Wait, oh, there's no... Whoa. What kind of level generation is that? There's no door. That is really weird. I don't know if I've seen that before. It's actually just a wall. What? That's so weird, man. I thought usually this map is like a big ring. That's really interesting. Whoa, what's going on? I am lagging my ass off. Oh, it's a divine shrine. I was like, where is my damage? Oh, I love this map, man. It's always so satisfying. They should add those Easter eggs in more maps. Just like the big... Ooh, double annul. Ooh. You kind of see what I mean, though? Like, this is a travel map. Like, I have nothing on this map. I'm running, like, one deli tablet, two random, irradiated tablets just for tablet drops, and, like, if you map quickly and you just run through, like, a map or two per, like, one map per minute and a half or something like that, like, there's no way not to make money, rarity or not. Like, you just blast through. Which is kind of the benefit of playing these faster blasty builds, right? Like, money will just come to you, essentially.
Good news for you.
These are our supplies. Indeed.
Why did I sell that?
A useful deed.
Man. 11 maps in a row with no Grand Mirror? I don't want to go here without spawning. Well, I could clear it for... I guess I could clear it to cleanse it, and then Grand Mirror it. That's probably fine. Okay. I don't know where my Grand Mirrors are, though. This is kind of crazy. Lots of gemling builds are starting to creep up in cost. Yeah, I mean, even the builds that I'm making are creeping up in cost, which is unfortunate. Because I really do like making budget builds. But that's just kind of it's also just the nature of the time of the league, right? Like, the further you go into a league, the less divines are worth. So everything just kind of creeps up in cost accordingly. It's also kind of like a power scaling issue, because when you're a month into the league, it's not like starter builds anymore, right? Like, people are looking for builds that can clear everything. That can clear 200% Deli, 200% Deli Breach, 200% Deli Abyss, Grand Expeditions, right? So, like, the expectations on the power level of builds just keeps going up, because the content that people are doing keeps going up throughout the league. So it's kind of like inevitable that build costs keep going up as well. It's not necessarily that you can't start the builds on lower currency, but to actually farm that endgame content, like a one divine build is not going to be comfortable in 200% Deli. It's not going to be comfortable in Grand Expedition, so it's kind of is what it is, right? This build is unfortunately getting more expensive than I intended. Like, I intended Oral Vasara as a super budget option, but it's starting to creep up in costs. Yo, where are the rares? I need to stop picking up these waystones. I'm like completely out of space. Does Herald of Ash make sense with this build, or just not necessary? Herald of Ash is a campaign herald. Herald of Ash doesn't make sense with almost any build in endgame, unless it cannot use Herald of Thunder or Herald of Ice. Herald of Ash stinks. It's good in campaign, and that's it, basically. And if you have extra spirit and nothing to do with it... Oh, sorry, this is PoE1. On a build that cannot shock and cannot freeze, then you can run Herald of Ash. But this thing has really, really small radius, right? 1.2 explosion radius. It doesn't scale up. It doesn't have an attack tag, right? If you look at Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder... Oh, I need to put PoE2. extra life. You can see these have the attack tag, right? Because they do actual hit damage. So this has a Herald of Ice has a 1.6 meter base radius, increases to 2, and then you can actually scale that up with attack AoE on your tree. So if I have something like AoE here with authority, it's area of effect for attacks. All of these bottom tree AoE nodes are specifically for attacks. If I have primal growth, right, this is 23% AoE for attacks. If I have engineered blaze, this is 40% AoE for attacks if you've ignited enough enemies in the past 8 seconds, right? So this will scale your Herald of Ice radius. It will scale your Herald of Thunder radius. It doesn't do anything to your Herald of Ash because it's not an attack. So it's just stuck with this like tiny 1.2 base radius. It's, you know, and if you're not overkilling, if you're not doing a gigantic amount of damage, the burn that it's spreading is also not very powerful. So generally speaking, this is just to add a little bit of clear coverage during campaign, and then whenever possible, pretty much every single build will drop out of Herald of Ash in the end game. It just doesn't really do much later on. Thank you, thank you. There's like some warrior builds that can't really access Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder that use it, but even those builds, when they push to enough budget and they get enough cold damage and lightning damage on their rings and on other pieces of jewelry, and they get like Gain as Lightning on Against the Darkness, Heart of the Well, even those builds will generally swap the Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder. Just because they actually do something, unlike Herald of Ash. Yeah, it is not a good skill, man. I mean, it does what it's supposed to do, I guess, for campaign. Like, the other thing with Herald of Ash is it also doesn't work with a lot of stuff that you would think it works with. Because Herald of Ash says it ignites, right? So I've seen people put this into builds because they wanted to use something like Engineered Blaze for 40% AoE. So they're like, okay, I'll use Herald of Ash to ignite and proc Engineered Blaze. It doesn't work. It doesn't count as an ignite towards Engineered Blaze. Like, Herald of Ash is not an actual ailment ignite. The wording is really bad. It should just say burn or something like that. It's not an actual ignite. It doesn't proc ignite-related effects like Engineered Blaze. I've even seen some really good build makers, like, get this wrong. Like, I saw Prada had a build last week that had Smith of Katava that was doing like Detonate Dead, Herald of Ash, and he said something along the lines of, I'm taking Engineered Blaze because the ignite from my Herald of Ash is proccing Engineered Blaze and giving me more AoE. It didn't do anything, right? Because this is actually not an ignite, and it's not his fault, right? Like, the wording on this is really, really poor. They need to change the functionality of this at some point, because it's a very, very misleading Herald. It is good in campaign, though, I'll give it that. It makes things comfier in campaign when you have, like, really shitty AoE. Because most AoE scaling and, like, coverage scaling doesn't really come in until you're actually in maps. It's also just that, like, you reach a point where it's like, why would you want damage over time on a setup like this, right? Because you're kind of one-shotting everything. It doesn't really help clean packs up. Yeah, I don't have anything good to say about Herald of Ash. It like has no redeeming qualities as a gem past campaign. Unfortunately. It's kind of weird the way I don't think fire has as much support in the game in some ways as the other elements. Not only Herald of Ash, but like if you take a look at the marks, right? There's Voltaic Mark, which isn't that good anymore because they kind of killed it. There's Freezing Mark. There's no mark for fire skills, and I don't know why. Like, what are you supposed to use if you're doing like a fire build? You just don't have a mark, or you run Predator's Mark or something like that if you can fit talismans. I mean, I guess there's Avatar of Fire, and there's no equivalent for lightning and cold damage, but Avatar of Fire sucks. Nobody clicks it, so it's kind of fake anyways. Where is the last... Yo, am I blind? I'm, like, confused right now. I don't see any... How do I close this breach? Oh, why did it spawn here? That's wild, man. Are there any fire builds that really do anything right now? Yeah. There's some really good fire gemling builds. Like there's flame blast builds because flame blast has like really really broken gemling quality. This thing is fucking crazy. I don't there's no way this makes it to like the next league reset. 40% more magnitude of damaging ailments per stage. You get like 40% quality at least. So this reads 80% more magnitude of damaging ailment per stage, or even more if you get more quality. And you get 10 stages. This is 800% ignite more ignite magnitude. What? Like, that's such a crazy number that I don't even understand it. 800% more magnitude of ignites. That's fucking crazy, man. If you do like a flame blast gemling, you just one shot every boss on really mediocre gear. It's disgusting amounts of damage. But the clearing is not quite as good because flame blast has a really long cooldown. So you have to find some other way to clear, like oil grenade or incinerate, which is not great. I don't know. This is a nutty mod. There's definitely good fire builds out there. There's another fire build that I saw. I was thinking about trying a character similar to this, but I haven't really worked out the details. Perfect Strike, Celia Contagion. This is a really cool build. It's not a real Ignite build per se. He's not scaling Ignite in any way. He's just scaling Perfect Strike's hit damage, but he's got a cast on Elemental Ailment Contagion set up to spread the Ignite. I'll talk about like the mechanic behind how he does this in a bit, but something like Perfect Strike usually has really bad clear, right? Like you hit in this little radius and that's about it. But even without Heralds, look how far his actual clear coverage is spreading. Granted, this is not in 200% deli, right? So I don't know how well it would scale, but look at this. Look at this. That's so nice, no? If you have enough mobs to chain off of, it just keeps going to a reasonable distance before it kind of like fizzles. But I'm thinking about trying a character somewhat like this, probably with more mobility because he moves kind of slow. But the premise of what he's doing here is really cool to me. That looks so satisfying, man. It just like clears a screen and a half ahead. Strength Stacker Brutus build. Changed one mace for Sacred Flame and changed. Oh, I'd be down to see this character. I feel like the way I built out the Strength Stacker wasn't that good for 200% deli. Like, because it was an early league build, right? So I wasn't really thinking about 200% deli maps yet. So I feel like the way I built it wasn't super high on damage. So I'd be down to see what you're cooking. You can make it scale a lot better if you go Iron Grasp and Crown of Eyes. But I feel like that setup feels really awkward to play, even though it has super high damage, just because you have like no mitigation, it's super expensive, and then you have no way to recover your ES if you get hit. You just like wait or run convalescence. But it is really, really high damage. Infernal Cry Gemling build? Yeah. Even with trying to get as many fire. You mean the one Josiah Yeet put together, right? And then I think Mirror Tier did a video on it as well. It looked really fun in non-deli. Like, it looked super, super fast in non-delirious. Granted, they were sprinting the whole time, so I'm assuming there's going to be, like, in practice, when it's not, like, video cuts of, like, really good highlights, there's probably some times when they're getting knocked down, unfortunately. But it did look super, super fun for non-deli, just, like, rushing through maps. But the damage did not look like it would scale into 200% deli at all. I was watching their boss kills, and it was super, super slow. But I have seen some Warcry builds that do pretty well in 200% deli. I think Skadoosh has one that seemed like it was doing decently in high deli. It wasn't super fast, but Skadoosh, this guy, Corrupted Wings Gemling. I haven't really looked into the details of the build too much, but he did show a 200% deli example, and it seemed like it was okay. Not necessarily super fast, but here. It's like okay. I mean, you can tell the damage isn't like sick, but he is clearing. Yeah, there's not that many ways to scale Warcry damage. Unfortunately, yeah, you can see the clear on the rares is kind of slow. There's just not that many ways to scale the damage well. Like, you have to go for really expensive jewels, to be honest, which is kind of weird because when you're making a Warcry build, like, I feel like you'd be looking for effectiveness on more of a low to mid budget, simply because the scaling isn't there. But to really juice the damage, you have to go really hard on expensive jewels and like a very expensive helmet craft. But it's doable if you really like Warcries. Why don't the Infernal Cry gemlings just shove in Flame Blast? Because you still have to scale Flame Blast, right? Like, you have to get spell scaling. You have to... Well, you do get fire level scaling. I mean... Maybe they could. For single target? Because I was thinking, like, yeah, they're not going to get spell level scaling, but they are scaling super, super high on fire skills. They run, like, Fire Flower. They run that Scythas for +1 fire. And then I think most of them are running the Corrupted Series chest for +1 level as well. You know what? Maybe you could. Maybe Flame Blast is just so fucking broken on Gemling that you could literally just shove it in there on those builds. And even though it's not 100% optimal, like, maybe it's still really good. Like, you could be completely right with that. Yeah, it should still be a really high level Flame Blast. I'm honestly thinking about that. You're kind of right. Why don't they just shove in Flame Blast? Is there anyone doing that? They're like, even if you don't have spell level scaling, like, surely that still does a decent amount of damage, right? There might be some other reason, like weapon set issues or something in how they set up the character, but Infernal Cry, Flame Blast, oil. These are oil. Whoa, what is going on here? These are not Infernal Cry characters. You need Paquate's Pact, right? So this is. There are a few guys doing it, from the looks of it. Infernal. Well, he's not super scaling it though. It's not even 5 linked. I mean, maybe it's just that even with the level scaling, like, it's just not enough because none of your other damage modifiers really affect it, right? Because they're scaling Global Fizz, they're scaling Fizz damage, they're scaling Warcry damage. Like, there's zero scaling towards Flame Blast damage here outside of plus levels. So it may just be that even with all those plus levels, it's just not enough damage to be worth it. That could be the case. Because this guy has it on, but he didn't even bother five-socketing it. This guy did. Nixian. This guy... No, you're right. You're right. Some of these guys are actually running Flame Blast for single target. Not very many of them, but some of them are. So it has to have some merit to it. Yeah, no, you're right. I think that could definitely work. Because anything's better than what they're running, right? Like, they have, like, no single target from what I've seen. Yeah, the scaling is definitely a little bit awkward, but... You know. If some of these guys are running it, I'm assuming it actually works decently. Made it more popular, but the original person that made the build really amazed me. Yeah, Josiah's making some really cool videos. Like the Glacial Bolt stuff. Granted, I think the Glacial Bolt idea came from Cat Kills, who's another YouTuber, but Josiah's pushing it along really far. Like, he's doing a great job with it. He's making some really cool videos. Perfect. Yeah, if you're doing the Perfect Strike Gemling, I think that you could potentially slightly pivot it into this character. It's got a really cool mechanic to it. Like, I really, really want to try to make a character using this mechanic. But I don't want to do exactly what this guy's doing, right? Like, I don't want to take his build. So I would have to think of something else in terms of like movement, what I could add to the character, or maybe some skills I could swap around, because I don't want to just like copy paste this build, right? But what he's doing to fix the clear is he's using a lore weave. You can also use a black flame ring. There's a lore weave mod that converts your ignite damage to chaos damage. Where is this? Ignites you inflict, deal chaos damage instead of fire damage. This does change the scaling of the build. Like, this guy's not focusing on ignite scaling, but he's using ignites just as a way to help clear trash. Again, I don't know how this scales into 200% deli, but it looks okay for at least general mapping at the very least without ignite investment. But again, what's happening here is he's getting this mod on his lore weave that causes his ignites to deal chaos, and then he's using cast on elemental ailment contagion. He's putting a level 1 contagion in his cast on elemental ailment. We're running frostwall, he's running contagion. What this does is when you ignite an enemy, right, it procs cast on elemental ailment. It procs contagion onto the enemy as well as several enemies around it. And what contagion does is it's used in ED contagion. When that monster dies, it'll spread chaos damage over time debuffs to other monsters. But because he's converting the ignite damage to chaos damage, it counts as a chaos damage over time debuff. It did not work like this before this league, to my understanding. 0.1 to 0.4, if I understand it correctly, this did not work. For some reason, they changed it to work, where chaos ignite now gets spread by contagion. And it kind of takes care of the problem of clear coverage that a lot of ignite builds have, because we don't have Ignite Prolif that's like in PoE 1, right? The Ignite Prolif in PoE 2 is fucking awful, where it's all like crackle creep effects, where you have to wait for 1.5 seconds, 1 second, and then the Ignite will spread, which doesn't feel good in clearing. It's really good in like Ritual, it's really good in Expedition, where you're just sitting in the same spot, and the burning corpses will proliferate the Ignite. But for actual clearing, it's just way too slow. But this contagion tech on cast an elemental ailment, it just completely wipes that out. It's so much better, man, in every single way. Like, it just spreads the ignite. It has no delay on it. The radius is also really, really good because the alternate quality on contagion for Gemling is 50% more area of effect. It's gigantic. You get 40% qual, you've got 100% more area of effect for it'll be like 3 meter spread radius. And there's no delay. It's such good tech, man. Like, I really want to try a character with this, but I can't think of like what skill I would use. But potentially, if you were running Woolie's build, you could maybe take a look at what this guy is doing. I'll link you the. You can maybe take a look at what this guy is doing and see if you can pivot some of that into your build to kind of shore up the clearing. Yeah, I can take a look for sure. I'd be super down, actually. I'd love to take a look. Alright, this is going to be the map where I actually spawn a Grand Mirror. 12 maps in a row, no Grand Mirror. Probably doing something wrong.
So, today's finally the day. Hey, old friend?
Sorry, I was trying to close out of that shit. I have got to be blind. Where's the boss? I'll be right back. My cat is whining. Okay. Yeah, if you're still there, I'll take a look. And then if anybody has any kind of final questions before I wrap up for assembling the build properly.
Choose what you need.
That is trash.
A useful trade.
That is actually tier 1 lightning. Accuracy roll kind of bricks it though. Maybe some Amazon wants this, man. Cast speed. Never mind.
These are a useful trade. Of course.
No! No! Not again. Do I have some open slots? Okay, I still do. I actually need to take waystones out of my filter. Like, I just, like, bank up so many waystones, I don't know what to do with them. It feels bad not picking up waystones, though. Link doesn't work? Oh, you can just link the second part. Like, copy-paste after the profile. Or this doesn't work. How do I... Okay, it'll look different for you, but whatever it says after profile, copy paste that part, and then I can open it up. Because you can't post the full link. Yeah, I ain't picking those waystones up. I have no space. Did I miss a side entirely? I did.
Nice try.
21 whole ass splinters. Thoughts on Decree of Loyalty and going hybrid armor ES? Decree is kind of awkward with earthshatter. I mean, if you really don't like Whirling Slash, you could try it for sure. But I feel like to really make Decree work, you have to run cast on dodge for the longer dodge roll distance. And then you would also have to stack like a pretty decent amount of movement speed on your actual tree, right? Which cuts into your damage and cuts into your attack speed. So at least my perception is it's probably not as good. But if you really don't like Whirling Slash and you really enjoy long dodges, you can probably make it work. like kind of similar to the Spearfield character, but you will probably need better overall gear because sacrificing the points to pick up all that movement speed is going to be, you have to have better gear to make up for the missing damage and attack speed on your tree. And then capping your resistances might be kind of annoying if you're wearing Decree as well, but I think you could do it. It's worth a try. Like if you really enjoy that playstyle, then you can make it work for sure. Max rolls if you put after GG. I'll try. Okay, here we go. Let me see what the question was. Oh, the Sacred Flame version. Yeah. Sorry, I lost track. Berserk, Voltaic. God damn, that's a whoa. What is happening here? I was like, that is a lot of skills, brother, and it is a lot of skills. I think it like duplicated all your shit. That's funny. Okay. Where's your rage gen coming from? I don't see Eternal Rage here or Rage on Hit. You do have Berserkin. Where are you getting your rage? Is it purely just from Ferocious Roar? Oh, oh. Okay, let me finish taking a look at this and then I'll address that. I could see this. The only thing is I don't know how you're actually getting rage because it looks like you have to press Ferocious Roar like all the time and then maybe you get a little bit off Wind Dancer procs, but there's no like active source. Ferocious Roar and one Jewel. Oh, right. Jewel with melee on hit. I'm stupid. Wait, that's on melee hit though. Isn't this a what melee hit are you doing? Because Molten Shower and Molten Blast are both ranged projectile. I feel like this probably isn't reliable enough for overall rage upkeep. You can get a corrupted Brutus Lead Sprinkler that has one rage on general hit. It's not rage on melee hit. It's just rage on any hit. So you can upkeep your rage just off of your Molten Showers and Molten Blasts. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you don't mind putting them down, then it's no problem, right? I like automating stuff like that and making sure that I don't have to constantly spam it, but different preferences for different players. Yeah, Decree of Loyalty. There's a couple things with this. This is a really strong body armor. I've taken a look at this because I wanted to use it in a couple builds, but I didn't end up doing so for a few reasons. But I think it is a really strong chest. I think it's really overlooked. Like, you get so much armor off of this max life conversion, by the way. Like if you're converting, let's say you have 80% max chaos res with a max roll. That's like, let's say you have, I don't know, 1500, 1600 base life. No, it'd be more on a gem. It'd be more, right? Because your strength int. Let's say 2k max life. And then you would be converting 80% of it. So 1600 to twice as much armor. Like 3200 base armor. Let's call it 3k. You're getting 3k armor from this. And then when you actually socket this and quality it and get like a really good roll, maybe over corrupt, this itself gives like 1500 or more armor, right? So this chest is giving like 4 to 5k flat armor just right off the rip. It's so good. And then you're doubling it all, right? Like all of your armor you're defending with more, and this can over corrupt as well. This can go up to like 240% or something like that. So you get crazy amounts of armor with this thing. And then there's other perks as well, right? Like if you're lowering your max life, that makes it really easy to sustain stuff like Berserk. Because if you get like a single tier 1 flat life regen roll on your gear, that'll counteract the entire Berserk degen. Because your Berserk is just percent life, right? You're degenning a percent of your max life, but you only have like 200, 300 life left after converting 80% of it. So even if you have like an 8%, 9%, 10% degen from Berserk, that's only like 20 life per second that you're degenning, and a single flat life regen roll on gear will counteract that entire Berserk degen. It is so fucking good. And then even if you go CI, like, if you go CI with this and completely ignore this line and you don't get any armor, you're still doubling your armor, right? As long as you have ES. So I think this is like a super fucking crazy chest defensively. Now, the main reason that I have not ended up running it is very simple. I think armor ES still sucks as an archetype. It's just not good, man. Like, this chest is crazy. There's crazy armor ES pieces. Like Decree of Flight is also fucking insane. The boots, Decree of Loyalty, fucking insane. All 3 decrees are really good items. But armor ES just doesn't have as much support as evasion ES or pure ES, because how do you sustain the ES? There's just no way. You have to either just kill all the mobs and don't get hit, and then wait to regen, because they cut all the forms of faster ES recharge and speed of ES recharge on the tree, right? So it's much harder to access a good amount of recharge. And what's more, when you're playing armor ES, you're getting hit. Evasion ES dodges the hits, which means that your ES recharge is not getting interrupted. When you play armor ES, even if you're reducing all the hits to fucking 1 damage because you have crazy amounts of armor, you're still getting hit, so it's still interrupting your recharge, right? And then Ghost Dance is kind of like the premier way of sustaining ES right now, and that's evasion based. Right? It heals, it recovers your ES based on evasion when you get hit. And you don't have an equivalent for that with armor. The armor equivalent is bark skin, but all that does is give you more armor. But that's not what you need. You already have so much armor, you need recovery, and there's no way to access it. You would have to like give up your glove slot to run Essentia Sanguis or something like that for ES Leech, which feels absolutely fucking terrible to run that glove. And it's also only like Fizz Leech, plus Leech got nerfed. And when you're running like a big ES pool with nerfed Leech, like, it doesn't feel good. So that's my main problem with the armor ES kind of variant of builds. Even though you can stack to such a crazy amount, it still doesn't feel comfortable to play. You have to like literally stop and recharge your ES and wait before going back in combat, or you have to hope that you have to like spend 30 spirit on convalescence and hope your convalescence is up. Like I was watching I think Carnarius did a build with this on like a bear, and I was watching him play, and it was super tanky. But when he took hits, he had to just wait, and it looked so awkward. Like, I feel like it's not worth it yet until they add some better version of support for ES sustain on armor ES specs. Literally, the best way to sustain your ES and recharge your ES on armor ES specs is to get a fucking Mage Blood with Jade and get 2,000 flat evasion off of the Mage Blood, right? And then get the duplicate so you get like 3,000 or more evasion off your Mage Blood, and then scale that evasion, and then run Ghost Dance on your armor spec to get Ghost Dance sustain. Like, it's so bad. That's why I haven't made a build with it. But if you can circumvent that, or you're okay with that kind of playstyle where you're just relying on convalescence, like, then I think it's good. Because, again, it's a fucking bonkers amount of armor to actually have, even without the conversion. Reverie belt? Yeah, Reverie is really good, but the problem with Reverie is it's really hard to get max hit. Right? Like, Reverie has insane amounts of sustain, but if you get one shot, it doesn't really help that much. And a lot of the time in endgame, like, what you're really dealing with is you're either alive and full HP, or you're like fucking dead because you got one shot by something, right? On those kinds, on like life builds. Because Reverie is for life builds for the most part, and it's very difficult to scale your life to the point where like you feel like you're not really getting one shot with Reverie. The other thing with Reverie, no, I know. Like, it recharges a lot. What I mean is if you just get straight one shot because you don't have enough big enough hit pool, then it's not recharging anything, right? Oh, good night, man. I'm not saying Reverie's bad. I like Reverie, but getting the actual pool for it is a problem. And the other issue that I have with Reverie is when you go for really, really high sustained builds like that like recharge your life or mana or ward or whatever, like really, really fast, typically you want to do stuff with it where you're like casting based on the pool, right? Because those kinds of builds get enabled by having so much recharge. The problem I have with Reverie is a lot of the stuff that you would want to do with it with that much regen, it actually doesn't regen enough. And that might sound really weird because it regens like 2 to 3k life per second. It's not enough to sustain something like Medveds on a life build. The build that I wanted to do with Reverie was Medved's Felling. Right? Because this thing, you lose percent of your max life per rage when you use supported skills, and then you gain 1% attack speed per rage. So this is OP on ES builds, on CI builds, because they don't take damage, right? It's like Berserk on CI builds. You don't take damage because you have 1 life, and it's super broken. I wanted to run Medved's Felling on Whirling Slash on a life build, but the problem is Reverie. I tried it with Reverie. Reverie doesn't sustain you enough. Even if you really invest into Life Flask nodes, it's not enough to sustain Medveds. The like raw life expenditure rate on a high attack speed Whirling Slash is way too high. Like Reverie's not even close to sustaining it. So in the end, the only way to run Medveds on Whirling is to go CI. That's the only way. So yeah, I don't know. Reverie's not bad, especially on Amazon where you can transfer the life regen to mana regen. Reverie on Amazon is cracked if you can get enough max hit pool, right? Because then you can go damage taken from mana before life, and then you have a big hit pool because it's combined life and mana pool. But on non-Amazons, I think there's a little bit of a struggle there. At least that's my perception of the item. Yeah, low life shenanigans. You can do it, but I don't think you can put Medveds on your Whirling. Like, you have to put Medveds on, I don't know, it'd be like Medved's on Rend or something like that, right? It cannot be an attack to move skill. Because once you reach that, the intent of putting Medveds on Whirling or Bone Shatter is to attack like fucking 15 times a second and just zoom across the map. But it cannot do that. Even on low life, it cannot do that with the chest. You have to go CI, trust me. If you're putting Medveds on something else, though, like you're just putting it on, I don't know, Flame Breath or like, you know, anything that doesn't hit 15 times a second, then yes, that absolutely works. As long as you can figure out the sustain. Yeah, yeah. I feel I had I literally set my characters up to try the exact same thing. I tried that on this character, literally. I tried it twice. I tried Reverie with Medveds when I was leveling, and I tried that chest with Medveds when I was in like my level 90s, and I tried it briefly. It didn't work. It's just not enough. There's no choice except to go full CI, which you can do if you want to do Medved's Whirling, but it's very expensive, right? It's just a different spec entirely. But it's a good idea. I wanted to make the exact same thing work. Okay. I guess I'll run in the last couple maps and then call it, because it's getting kind of late. Oops. Whoa, that was weird. Why didn't it break my walls? I guess because Seismic has like a much lower AoE than Infernal Cry. So it's like literally not reaching far enough. By the way, they really need to change that. Every single time that I click like the massive shrine, I get like a fucking jump scare because my life just goes to half. Like they should just make it so you get the life instead of, you know, like I don't know. Every single time I click it, I get a jump scare. I'm like, what the fuck hit me? Ooh, I'm lagging. my frames, man. Do I have Herald of Ash? No, I don't have Herald of Ash. It's from Armor Explosion.
Good news for you.
It's this guy. So when you break armor with Herald of Ice, this is from Rite of Passage, right? Spirit of Wolf. This lets you armor break with any damage. So your Herald of Ice can break armor, and then it procs Armor Explosion, which is that fire thing that you see. And then Armor Explosion, because I'm dealing almost all cold damage, this can chill with its damage. And because it's chilling, it allows it to shatter. And because it shatters with the Lore Weave mod, and because it shatters, that can proc Herald of Ice again, and it can kind of loop back and forth. And like, basically, you hit, you kill something, you chill it or freeze it, you shatter it, it procs Herald of Ice. Herald of Ice will proc Armor Explosion because it's armor breaking. Armor Explosion will chill, and if the mob dies, it'll shatter and proc Herald of Ice, and then Herald of Ice can proc Armor Explosion, which can proc Herald of Ice back and forth, right? That's why you see this like gigantic explosion across the screen, where it just clears all the way to the edge of the screen. It's basically like a chain where these just keep looping back and forth. It's not Herald of Ash. It's Armor Explosion. Oh man, everything has temp chains, man. And my build cannot do temp chains right now. I can't believe I didn't end up finding a single Grand Mirror. I think I ran like... I didn't map very much, but I think I ran like 15 maps slowly over the course of the stream. I didn't spawn a single Grand Mirror. Still a breach.
I have a buyer.
Choose what you need. Indeed.
Okay. There's one here. One here. Well, I have 3 around, actually. But alright, I'll probably wrap it up there. Looks like there's no more questions, so... Thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys got some help. Yeah. I don't know if I'll stream again. This was mostly just to answer some questions because it looked like people were struggling to set some stuff up, but we'll see. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a good night.